What's up, everybody? Welcome to System Crafters Crafter Hours. I almost had System Crafters Live again. This is the stream series where we get together and work on something not necessarily new, but at least might be fun. And, have a good time writing some scheme. And yes, it's different music today because I'm just kind of getting bored of hearing the same old stuff for 2.5 hours, 2 times a week, and then another 2 hours on Friday. So, like, the usual music that I play in the background is like 4 tracks. They just loop over and over and over again. And I don't know, it just gets a little bit boring. So maybe let's just, change it up a little bit. This is a no copyright synthwave playlist on Spotify. So hopefully they won't copyright strike my video. I think it won't because they didn't do the last one. So we'll see. All right, let me say hello to the people who are here so far. I see Glenn, Peter, and Trev over in the IRC side, and nobody yet on YouTube. I mean, there's viewers, but I don't see anybody actually chatting there. So say hello if you're here this morning. It's morning for me. I don't know if it's morning for you. Oh boy, yeah, another week of kids getting sick and having to go to the doctor multiple times, and having to stay up late because we don't know if we're gonna end up in the hospital again. So just kind of dragging behind on the sleep quality and quantity if I seem a little bit weird. But that's just the way it is, Maybe in 2 months, all the viruses will take a vacation and we won't have to be sick all the time anymore. But it's been pretty relentless the last few months. Trev says, Retro Wave Crafter Hours soundtrack. Yes. Hello to Jason on the YouTube side. Glenn says, very uplifting. I like it. Yeah. We need some uplifting now because we're about to work on authentication and federated auth single sign-on with Discourse. So we're gonna need a little bit of motivation, let's say. I'm joking. It's not that bad. Let's see. Let me just bump this up a little bit. Maybe that's big enough. Okay. So let's talk about what we did last time. Last time I was basically playing cleanup on some stuff that I had done to get the new staging version of the System Crafters website set up to run alongside the staging version of emaxpackages.com on the same server that's running Geeks. If you look at staging.systemcrafters.net, you'll see that there is a site there. It has basically all the same stuff as the real systemcrafters.net, but there's also a Guile backend that you can kind of see peeking through if you go to the hello endpoint. Don't tell me this is down. Okay, it finally responded. That's not encouraging that it's taken so long for that to respond. I don't know what's going on in the server, but take a look at it in a minute. I hope it didn't get owned. Okay, it just takes a long time to respond. That's not cool. Let's see about staging.emaxpackages.com. That comes back almost instantly, so I have no idea what's happened on the other side. All right, now it's faster. Who the hell knows? Anyway, point being, both those sites are now running on the same server. We had to deal with some issues that were caused. Like, what was it in the end? I think that something was causing Shepard to get hanged. And also, I wasn't restarting the Nginx server or service every time that I pushed new configurations. So I wasn't seeing the changes that I was making as I was deploying them back. So we figured a couple things out as a result of all that and got everything back up online and working the way that it's supposed to, which is great. Then we also started looking into what we would want to do next on the System Crafters site, the new System Crafters site, because the goal is that I'm going to continue having the site as it is today with a lot of static pages, but there's going to be some dynamic aspects to it for people to log in with their profile and maybe see like courses they're a part of and various other things that I want to do with it. But to make that possible, they have to be able to log into the site. And the way that I've done this in the past is that I've used the System Crafters forum at forum.systemcrafters.net, which is a discourse forum. It provides the ability to do single sign-on, which means that you can use your Discourse account to log into another site if the site is configured to do that. So what I want to do today is port over some code that I wrote in JavaScript to Scheme to run in the Guile backend for the website to facilitate this authentication strategy, which is not too difficult. It basically just requires a couple of redirects from the main website to the forum to do the authentication, and then whenever the forum decides that you're logged in, it sends the user's browser back to our website, but our backend has to be able to unpack the response and to validate that it's a valid login attempt. So there's a little bit of bookkeeping that has to be done there, a little bit of dealing with signatures and not really encryption, but just things like that. But I believe we have what we need in Guile to accomplish this, so we're gonna take a look at that in a minute. So yeah, that's sort of the state of things right now, and we will get started in a moment. So going back to where I have the code on this. So if I go to function/login, so what I'm basing this on is code that I wrote for the System Crafters Guild website, which is a separate subdomain, guild.systemcrafters.net. This is currently where I'm kind of hosting the course material that I've put up so far for the hands-on Guile Scheme for Beginners course, and then the other courses that I'm producing. There's some other stuff there too. And this site requires you to log in via the forum. So if I click login here, it's going to do a redirect to the forum and then come back. And there's really nothing here because I didn't make further progress on the site. But it works. And the thing about this site is that it's written in JavaScript because it's running on Cloudflare functions. Well, why did I do that? Well, because it's basically free to host static files and also to run these sort of functions. If you don't have like a certain level of traffic, it's free. And I don't have a huge amount of traffic on this site, so it was very easy to just get that set up and running. And it worked out pretty well. Like I'm pretty happy with what I was able to accomplish with it, but it's JavaScript. I don't have a problem with JavaScript. I quite like, writing JavaScript, but I would rather write more things in Scheme if I can. So this is going to be another thing that I want to try to port to Scheme for the new site. So we have this file, which is login.js, which basically facilitates the whole process of this kind of redirect authentication strategy. And we just basically need to kind of run through the list here and try to re-implement all the parts of it. But I guess the important thing first is to kind of get the entry point to it. And I think that is, so if I were to go with this login button here, it sends you to, you can't really see it at the bottom of the page, but it sends you to a login part of the site. If I go to login, it automatically does a redirect to the Discourse forum. So the first thing we need is to have that redirect happen on the Guile backend. So the Guile backend needs to redirect the user to the authentication endpoint on the Discourse forum to start with. Hello to Victor and Bucket. Victor says, how is this stream at this unholy hour? Well, I guess it depends on which hour it is for you, because for me, it's 9:46 a.m., so it's not too unholy, even though I seem like I haven't slept at all. All right, so let me just kind of take a look at what we got here. Check for user cookie. Do I have any cookie handling stuff anywhere? I think I must, right? In the Emacs packages site, because I had already done a little bit of login stuff for that, so that may be another thing we should move over to the WebFrame repo. Let's see. Login, cookie, no, cookie, there we go. All right, so I'm setting a cookie. I think that must be in routes. Where am I reading the cookie? Authenticated, content page. Let's see, authenticated values, context sessions, CTX. Oh, okay, is it in context? Or session? Nope. How about decode session token? Where is that being used? There it is, cookies, server handler, cookies. Sock ref, headers, request, cookie, parse cookies. All right, cool. So maybe this cookie stuff needs to be in its own library. And server.scm, there we go. All right. So let's go to Guile WebFrame, source, WebFrame, cookies.scm. What do we have to use for this? Yes, ICE9 match for sure. One thing I need to start using is electric pair mode. I realized today, like I think it's probably just a smart thing to do. So I'm gonna start using electric pair mode to save myself a little bit of typing. All right, so back over on this file, I'm gonna grab parse cookies. And then I think that's it, right? Like, let's do a define public on this. Publix. It's not a grocery store. Okay. Parse cookies, map lambda cookie. This is a thing that definitely would benefit from some unit tests, but we're not going to bother with that right now. Parse cookies, cookie value. And what I could do actually is have a, maybe this doesn't need to be public. I'm going to undo that. Then I'm going to put this here instead. Define public. Request cookies, request. That way I can kind of pull it off myself. There we go. Okay, so this is reading. So pulling a soak ref. Request headers request. Pulling the cookie header out and then parsing the cookies and returning it is going to be an A list. And otherwise it's going to return an empty list. So that does look right to me. So pretty straightforward. That's good. Now, I can replace this whole thing with request cookies, request, and get this out of here. Just make sure this works first. Okay. And this is emaxpackages.com. Okay. So I could probably do a little test run of this if I were to load up the, let's see, dev server. Does this also have a dev server? I think so. Scripts, dev server. Does it have a port thing as well? Start server. Okay, got the port as well. Let's do that same thing then. Dev server, no file or directory. That's fine. It's because I'm in the wrong place. Let's go back here. Try to run compile again. Okay, possibly unbound variable request headers. That does make sense because I didn't actually pull that in. So if I go to cookies, use module web request. I think I can, I don't know. I kind of like putting the ICE9 headers first, or modules first. I don't know why, don't ask me. All right, that's looking all good now. And if I go to localhost 8080, I think, then it seems to work. I'm still logged in as George. I don't know what George's password is, so I'm not gonna log back out, but the site does seem to be working and it's reading the cookies. Okay, so that change worked. Now we have cookie support moved over. And that means I could go into, let's see, server.scm is the right one. Let's see, session, what am I doing with the cookies? Session token, I see. All right, so I'm just kind of pulling it out there. We're gonna go to the systemcorrectors.net page, server.scm. Hello, where are you? There we go. So now we can pull in. If we need it here, let's think about this for a minute. I guess maybe I should actually break this out into a separate module. So login.scm. I'm probably gonna need a few of these. So I'm just gonna drop those in. Okay. Just happened there. Is that right? Okay, that's what I thought. All right, so now, login handler would also move over here, I think. It's gonna be public. I need a different way to name these functions, I think. And let's also take a look at the login.js code. What am I doing with cookies? The first thing I do is get the cookies so I can pull the session cookie name out. Okay. So request cookies from request. Got that. Let's pop those out a little bit. All right. And need to do some defines here. So session cookie name. What is the best way to do like a constant in Scheme? It's not really like a def const. I mean, I guess I could just sort of do the same thing. Is like have something uppercased or Scheme constant value. What is it? What am I looking for? Well, not that. Like a naming convention. Scheme constant value naming convention. It's really just a naming convention. Okay, here we go. Const. Global constants, uppercase or dot plus plus. Okay, yeah, I think I've seen plus plus used around. In fact, let's see. If I go to the Geese code base, let's see if I can find anything. Whoops, with plus dot star plus. Okay, it needs to be dot plus, I believe, to do that correctly. Yeah, that's a mess. What am I looking at? What is that? There's a Sway home service now? When did that happen? Oh, hell yeah. Nice. Well, we all just learned something today. Gotta check that out. Let's see. Geeks manual, Sway home service. We just saw that, right? The link. Okay. I think we need to take a look at that at some point. Nice. All right, cool. Bev says, I'm team uppercase. Probably uppercase is the way to go just because everybody kind of understands that that means a constant. So let's go with that. What's the key binding in Emacs for this? What is it? Upcase. Upcase word. Upcase region. Control X, Control U. Huh? It's disabled. So why is it that they think this is so dangerous? They got to put it behind a warning. Is it something that people would press often? I'm just going to press space to try it. Session cookie name. I think that looks good enough. It yells at you so that you understand what's happening. Okay, so source utils.js. Interesting that I've got it in a different place. All right, so SC site session, we'll call that. Get user session. So I have another file for this. Get user session. I should probably have maybe a session.scm in this project as well. Define module. Okay. And let's see. Context. Must be a popular key binding somewhere else. Yeah, it must be something like that. I've never heard of that binding anywhere else before, so who knows? Define. I don't like the name get user session, but maybe that's good enough for now. Get user session. We also need the concept of context in here as well. And what did I have over on the Emacs packages side? Context.scm. I had a record type. So I mean, I guess one question I have about context is this something that it needs to be a project-specific record type because the context might be different for different sites, let's say? Or is there like a base context with like an A list that you can kind of attach to it that gives you additional parameters that you can pass around, like a more generic thing? Because, you know, context is kind of a pretty standard concept for passing around the context of a request and kind of attaching things to it so that you don't have to keep changing route handler parameters every time you want to add something to your context. But I'm not sure. I mean, maybe we can just start with having it be per site for now, and then later generalize it once we kind of understand the patterns, the shared patterns between sites better. So over on this session side, we're gonna, oh, no, let's create context.scm here. We're gonna just drop this in. SC site context. All right. So we've got context here, and on this side, we're gonna pull that in because we're gonna need it. So hold on a second. This is referring to session. So we don't need get user session if context just supplies it. So it's like some part of the request pipeline needs to see if there's already a session and then attach it to context so it can be dealt with by handlers. Yeah, let's think about this for a second. I'm gonna go back over to login.scm and login.js and see what I was doing in that file. And then maybe we can kind of work backwards and figure out what the right breakdown is. I think that the design will be slightly different. I think I had to do things in a weird way with the JavaScript backend because some of the code was being used in Cloudflare function handlers, and some of it was being used in JavaScript scripts that I was running at the command line. So I had to share some code and sort of break it apart in a way that made it seem a little bit disjoint. So maybe I can do a cleaner design now. All right, encode sign payload. So cookies, session, get cookie, cookie name. I think this needs to be somewhere else, but I believe that this, well, was login set up as a middleware? Is that what happened? So login handler, I think on the, yeah, our handlers have context and not requests. So let's change that here on the server of System Crafter site. In fact, we'll also take a look at what I'm doing on the server of the Emacs packages site. So server handler, I kind of need to just, you know, modify this design a little bit also to make it easier to do interactive development. And I need to put the logging stuff in here as well. So I probably need to move that log stuff over to WebFrame in a moment. So run server, Lambda request body, server handler request body. Okay. Also server port needs to be kept in place. That's probably it. There we go, that's good. Server handler request body. Okay. And in this, For every request, we're pulling out the cookies. And we're creating a session, right? Make context. Okay, we're making a context, not necessarily a session. That's fine. Probably should just pull that. All right. And I think the rest of this is going to go into a handler. So define route handler. Let's go over to routes.sem. Hello to you. So handle request, context request body. Okay, request doesn't need to be there because we already have request as part of context, but maybe this is just a way to simplify things. Handle request. Go to Desolator. Handle request, context, request body. All right, so we'll go ahead and kind of just clean this up a little bit. Okay. So, yeah, I changed how this operates a little bit. Hey, Luis. It's getting a little bit hard to read all this. All these things that I'm copying need to be moved, I think, to WebFrame. Like with middlewares. I think that pattern needs to be expanded upon a little bit. Let me just drop that in. Yes, it is different. I was a little bit bored with the usual stuff, so just decided to put something new in. All right, let's also grab logger.scm. We're just going to grab the whole file. We're going to go over to WebFrame. Whoops. And find directory, source WebFrame. All right, so we're going to go in here and type logger.scm. We're going to drop the file in. We're going to make this WebFrame logger. And I think that's good now. So then back over in this code base, we're going to delete logger. And we're going to find out real fast which files depend on that. In fact, I could probably just run a grep over the code base. So control XPG site logger. And then what is the... Does this work in this kind of buffer? With WebFrame logger. Replace non-occurrences. Yeah, I don't think that worked, did it? Let's see. No, it did not work. What is the way to do that in the grep view? So Emacs grep replace. Oh, Control C, Control P. Is that wgrep? That's not built in. Okay, so it seems like a lot of external solutions here. There's not a way to do this built in. Match. Query, replace, regex. Xref query replace. I don't think so though, because we'd have to work on a module, wouldn't it? Yeah. Do find and regex replace allows users to replace regular expressions in multiple files. Find DRED, find name DRED, find grep DRED. Mark all files from the resulting DRED buffer using T. Use Q to query replace. Accept all replacements in each file. Okay. Let's see. How about that? It's a little bit manual though. I don't really like that too much. Find name DRED. Toggle mark for all files found. I don't want a file name pattern though. But I guess that does make sense. I mean, check this out. So, stop that. Find name DRED. Start at SEM. What's it doing? For a root directory, oh, root directory first. File name pattern, start at SEM. Okay, so there's a bunch of SEM files here. Okay, cool. And then T to toggle mark for all files found. If I do this T, okay, so that marks all of them. Interesting. Q for query replacement files, site logger, web frame logger. Okay, it actually is doing it, seems. And I get to choose whenever it goes through. So yes, 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 yes. Okay. Seems good. Control X, Control S to save all, right? Control X, Control S? No. Control X, S? Yeah, there we go. Save all. There we go, cool. Maybe that worked. Let's check the diff. What are these files? Where's the DB file? Okay, and then sync archives. Apparently that one didn't get saved. All right. So now, looks fine, looks fine, looks fine. Let's try running it one more time and see if the site blows up. Looks fine so far, and it's logging, so it must be okay. Why couldn't xref work if you use project find regexp? I don't know. Let's see. Site. Oh, sorry. Web frame logger. Oh, okay. So it's an xref buffer. You're right. Query replace in results are. Huh. Okay. That actually does work. That's cool, Trev. Nice. That's actually way better because I don't really like that DRED method. The DRED method actually is pretty nice, but I wouldn't want to do that all the time. There's too many steps involved. So this is much better. I guess I should have realized it was an xref result buffer whenever I was looking at that before. So thanks for pointing that out. Good. So we got a built-in solution for that. Okay, so the site still runs, which is good. I should probably check in some of the stuff though. So first of all, which file was it? Okay, sure, we got rid of the logger. It was server where the cookie stuff was, right? Okay, let's do that. So I'm gonna split this hunk. So check this out. This is how you do hunk-based diffs or staging in DC mode. So I want to split the two hunks right here because I don't want to check in the logger stuff in this commit. So I'm gonna use Control X, Control S. That splits the hunk right here. And now I have this hunk on the bottom that has the cookies bit. And I can just press S, sorry. Oh no, I'll go to the one that I don't want to include and I'll press K to kill that hunk. And now I've got this bit here in the diff. Oh, in fact, I think I need to pull that other file in that I want to include too. So let's do that too. So mark that and mark the logger removal. Sorry, not the logger removal. Oh, I guess that one file was it, right? So maybe that was enough. So let's do it again. Control X, Control S. Kill that hunk, and now I think we can just check this file in. Move cookie handling to web frame. And that's good now. Now the logger file is the only thing that is changed here. Same thing for logger. Oops. Oh, did I just screw that up? Yeah, I did. I resurrected that file apparently. We're gonna delete logger again. Okay. So we're gonna mark all this stuff really. Probably don't even need to mark them. Check the diff real quick. A bunch of changes, web frame logger, removing the logger file, web frame logger. Okay, so we can check that in too. So move site logger to web frame. All right, that's good now. Also, let's go over to web frame and check that stuff in too. So we got a couple things here we're gonna add. Cookies we're gonna add now. Same thing we're gonna do for logger. Push that up. Same thing for emaxpackages.com. We're gonna push that up. Got it. All right. So that's clean for now. Trev says, that's how Trev does it all the time. It works nice with LSPs too. All right, we're doing a George Costanza style third person self-reference. That's how Trev does it. Okay, Trev. So let's see. Now we're back to server.scm on SC's site. Now we can pull in the logger. Okay, the name web frame is kind of growing on me a little bit. Web frame logger. Okay, so we got the logger stuff. We do need that in here because we have some log calls, or at least we are going to have some log calls. So let's pop that in. And change this log info to use the right port, because we do support multiple ports now. All right, server handler requests. We go to routes, SCM, my module. Why do we put routes in a separate file? Because it makes it more amenable to REPL-based development. That module boundary makes it easier to replace functions that are being used in other places, because they get stuffed into nice little boxes that can be replaced at runtime, which you can't really do sometimes with stuff defined inside the same module. So we're gonna need use module ICE9 match. How did I end up with? Interesting. Okay, I got kind of ripped out funny. So URI paths, we're also going to need use module web URI. Okay. In fact, I think we have a different handle request that I need to pull into, so let's do that too. And where's handle request being used? Handle request, it needs to be public. Doing that with an export, but maybe it could just be a defined public here. All right. String split, match URI, index view. We don't really need all that for this. So let's come on. Drop it in right around here. We're going to switch it up a little bit. Now this is going to be just plain old hello. And the response needs to be different too, so I have to change this too. I think login handler now will get returned directly because we had this whole model where we're returning handler procedures and not running the handler directly. Okay, so we got the handler, root middlewares, 404 handler, probably need to pull that stuff into. Maybe I need a way to abstract all this in reality. So server, where was that? Oh, this is in routes, fine. Yeah, middleware. Okay, so with middlewares, maybe it needs to be middleware. This may be a temporary part of the design. There might be a better way to express this at some point, so we'll have to take a look at that later. So inside of routes here, we don't need with middlewares anymore. I'm going to go up here and pull in frame middleware instead. Just appease my aesthetic sense. See you, Peter. All right, so CSS logger middleware haven't. Okay, cool. Yeah. Authenticated. Yeah, so this doesn't really, it's not generic quite yet, so I can leave that here or I can kind of take it. It would also be nice to have a way to have a shared route library inside a web frame. So routes, cookies, routes, okay, fine, web frame, sorry. I'm going to change the name of this too, because I don't really like the F thing. So, okay, I see. This is meant to be a middleware to do a 404 handler toward the end. All right, so lambda context body. Okay, so we'll define public on this. I want to provide some kind of syntax for defining routes at some point, composable routes, but we just haven't gotten there yet. There's also a logged middleware, it seems. It's technically the 404 thing in middleware. It kind of is. It's part of the pipeline, the request pipeline. So we have routes here, but maybe this actually needs to be in middleware. How did that get grabbed at the same time? I'm gonna call that logger. 404 handler, logger, okay. So now, back in site, we can change that to 404 handler, we can change that to logger. So we have root middlewares, fonts, handler, root middlewares. And with middlewares, I'm gonna call this middleware. I mean, maybe there needs to be a better name. Middleware is kind of like a lingo term. I think there needs to be something that has actual more specific domain value here. Maybe from a functional programming concept, but let's just leave it for now with middlewares. So the handler plus middlewares. I mean, why not just, if it's never being used directly, why shouldn't it just be a list? So we don't have to call apply. Place global middlewares here. And why is it that this is first? I haven't really looked at this super closely. The last middleware gets the handler as its argument. The last middleware gets the handler as its argument. Okay. This 404 is last. Okay, I'm not gonna think too much about that right now, just because it seems to be working the way it is. So we'll just leave it, and then we'll kind of maybe reevaluate it at some point in the future. We'll leave the authenticated handler there, and potentially copy it over to routes on SE site, just to have it there and be ready. This also needs. I'm going to call this root middlewares. I'm going to call it request pipeline. Actually, because request kind of has its own concept namespace with the web request module, so I don't want to kind of get that too confused. We're also going to pull in middleware. We're going to need site context I think I created that already, didn't I? Contacts, okay, I think I got that. All right, we got web URI. We need a web request. Okay, got all that. Login handler. We also need and hello. I'm just going to take the hello handler out now because we don't really need that anymore. That was just there for verification purposes. And the pipeline. Yeah, this whole handle request could definitely be replaced by a syntax that lets you define routes really easily, but then also allows you to define the middlewares for the route. So it'd be nice if you could apply kind of custom middlewares for a subset of your routes as you're composing them, which seems like a pretty easy thing to do in a functional programming language. Handler pipeline, handler request, this is no longer valid. Get that out of there. All right, handle request. And I think we're good on that. So back to server. Server handler, handle request. We're gonna have to pull in use module SE site routes. Get that. All right, so let's kill this project. Then instead, we're going to go into project, compile. Do the same thing for systemcrafters.net site. It's going to crash. I mean, I'm going to get some kind of error for sure because I haven't tied up everything correctly. Okay, so the logging did show up. Why did they try to pull in WebFrame as a package though? Receive? Oh, okay, I must be missing something. So let's go back to routes here. Okay, so ICE9 receive, definitely. There's some other things that are missing too. So let's go back to middleware. Yeah, I didn't pull any modules in here. Do we need match? What else do we need? We need logger, use module. URI path, we need use module web URI. Ooh, middleware needs context request. So maybe we do need a shared context concept here. It's not too bad. Okay. I think I have an idea in mind for how we can accomplish this. All right, I think that's good. I'm thinking something like context extra being just a generic object that could be another record type that's defined by the app itself or the project itself. Extra is probably not the greatest name for it. I mean, it could be an A list, it could be another record type, it could be anything. But let's just leave it at that for now. I mean, we got DB, request, session. Those are pretty common things you would need across apps. So context DB is whatever it needs to be. Request is obvious. Session can be anything also, but for the purpose of what we're doing here, it's going to be a web frame session. No, there's no session here. Okay, fine. Okay. Because these are kind of generic. I mean, they don't have to be something specific. It could be any kind of session. Whatever you put in as a session value when you create this is what it's going to be extra. Cool. So we got context, web frame context. We got request, context request, URI path, logger. We got response. We need. Okay. I think that's good. I wonder if fold 9 is part of Surfy 1. Surfy 1, fold right. That's part of Surfy 1. Fold and map. Okay, makes sense. Yep, there it is. So I think this file is better now. Login.scm apparently is missing. Oh, right. I think I got a little errant single quote there. Let's try to rerun this now and see what happens. Okay, so possibly unbound variable render page. That's in routes. Yeah, okay, got it. So in routes.scm, and to pull in, okay, web frame middleware is there, but I probably am not exporting those, am I? Let's do that. Public, public, public. Render page. That's also something that could go into web frame. I think. So in site, we have, I think it's called template, which has render page, title and body, but this is kind of a pre-baked it's a pre-baked template, which we don't want to share across projects. So where is render page being called? Routes.scm. That's in SE site routes. Render page. Okay, so it's not being called somewhere that's generic, which is good. So maybe I can just kind of copy that over. Site util template. Your page. Yeah, let's try that. So Control H. We're just going to copy this file. Site template.scm. I don't know. I don't know that all the nesting I was doing is necessary, but we'll move things around if we need to. We're going to pull in web frame. Oh no, just data star. Data star. Export render page. Yes, we're going to do it that way. All right, and this render page actually is what we need to pull into the hunt.scm. So there's a render page in here somewhere, or generate page. So yeah, we're going to have to copy all this over. And that's okay. But we won't do that right now. Okay, so render page, site template. I'm gonna go back to routes and put that in SC site. Yeah, I know we're doing a lot of initial work before we can actually get to the login flow. Just trying to get the basics put together. We're almost there, I think. Okay, no code for module SC site template. Ah, you're right. And what's going on over here? This is the way, says Glenn. Thank you, Glenn, for reinforcing my desire to try to share code between the projects. All right, what was that? Possibly unbound variable logged. Routes.scm. Not here. Middleware. Logger. Logged. I think logged makes sense. Hey, Tony. Tony says, if you had to convince someone without appealing to org mode that Emacs could be a better workflow than their current Vim setup in one sentence or less, what would it be? Emacs is far more programmable than Vim. So you can customize your workflow a lot more easily. That's my opinion. All right, so everything is looking good. Localhost 8080. Got nothing there, but I'm gonna pull up the login page and it's not giving me anything yet. Let's see, 500 error, yes. The code session token. Where is that? So if I go to, well, let's see. Okay, so not there. All right, server handler to code session token. We don't have sessions right yet. Tony says, check out System Crafter's intro on why he uses Emacs on YouTube/System Crafters. Do I have one? Is it the, I don't know. I probably need to do another video like that at some point. All right, so session token is not really relevant yet, but we're gonna need that at some point. So I'm just gonna kind of comment that out for the moment. Context, boom, there we go. So restart the site. Let's get rid of that window. It's starting to annoy me a little bit. Compilation. Okay, so server. Not that one. I'm in the file. Make context. So I don't have, oh, context. So this needs to go away now. And we need to pull in web frame context instead. There we go. A little bit of alphabetical ordering here. DB 22. Yes, that's right. Make context DB request session. I don't have a DB yet. I'm going to put false on that, but we will have one eventually. Session also is going to be false for now. And then extra is also going to be false for now. Okay. No code for module SC site context. Where is that being pulled up? SC site context. In routes, we're going to change that to web frame. We're going to clean this up a little bit. We're going to drop that right there. Nope. I think we're good now, right? I didn't see any errors there. All right, cool. Reload, login, still a 500 error. Got something else going on here. Wrong type argument and procedure request headers, I think. Seems to be context. Wait, what was that? West headers? Yeah, okay. I think that's better. Now I need to start doing this dynamically. Like I think I need to start using the REPL in a second. Now that the code seems to be compiling and we can start poking with things, I think I'll have to do that a little more cleanly. Instead of restarting the server every time. Unbound variable context request. Yes, use module web frame context. Taking way too long to start up. There we go. Okay, so we got a working page. Good. And the requests seem to be getting logged correctly, which is good. It means the middleware is working. Okay, I'm gonna take a 2-minute break and we're gonna come back and then finally start trying to get some of the login flow implemented. So I'll be right back. Alrighty. Still waiting on that monster sponsorship. All right. So let's see. We got everything running now. I would like to start using the REPL, which I think we can just go ahead and do. So Geyser Connect. Localhost, correct port, boom, there it is. All right, so back to where we were. Just checking the routes. So we're good to be able to reload the route handler for this. So let me just, here's a redirect. I'm just doing this to, excuse me. What did I just do? Just to double check that it's gonna work. Yeah, here's a redirect, good. So we're able to dynamically reload the handler and see what it does. Now we can start hacking on the logic. So back to login.js. So the first thing we did there is get the cookies. And there probably aren't any cookies yet. If we look at the storage cookies, there's a session token for localhost. I think that's the one that is for emaxpackages.com because it was also running on localhost. Oh, there's another thing I want to do, actually. Give me 1 second. I probably need to pull that config over. I don't know if I have it set up on this machine yet. Dot files, David Will, systems, base, hosts. Okay. I already had that. So systemcrafters.local. Check this out. System crafters. Come on. .local 8080 /login. Is it HTTP specifically? Come on. Why not? Maybe I never apply the configuration after I sync these changes over. Yeah, I'm a little bit reluctant to try and apply this config now, because we will end up changing my whole config. Okay, I'll make sure before next time to run geek system reconfigure so that we have the systemcrafters.local domain. It's pretty useful though, I think. In fact, I also need to add one for Emacs packages.local. But the point of that is you can use your /etc/host file to set up other kind of fake domains for your local machine, and then kind of make the, oh, actually I need that, don't I? No, I don't need it. Okay, anyway. To make it nicer to do local development, let's say. But today we won't use that. So, cookie session. Let me just sort of write down the overall flow of what's happening here. So, first of all, we load the users, or attempt to load the user's current session. Attempt to load the current session based on the cookie. If there's no cookie, there's no session. And how am I determining session active? Okay. Check if this is an SSO callback. If not an SSO callback, redirect to SSO endpoint. Did I ever save where I'm supposed to go in the UI? So forum, admin. Let's see, SSO, auth. There's a place to set which domains are allowed, I think. Okay, Discourse connect provider secrets. Okay, localhost to set up. Probably should take that out though. Is there any way to duplicate that, I wonder? And does start@systemcrafters.net include... Are they louder? Okay. Thanks, Trev. There we go. We could try it. Well, okay. Let's not worry about that yet. We got localhost, and that's enough to do the local testing. So that's good. All right, so we should be able to just kind of redirect and send things there. So what's the actual process for sending? We have to create a UUID and create a payload with the nonce, and the return URL is the URL of the site. I need a way to decide which URL it is. Get site URL, I think it's coming from utils. Yeah. Context env site URL. Or guild.systemcrafters.net, okay. So if I were to go to scripts, dev server, site URL equals HP localhost 8080, I guess. That way we'll set that environment variable and then I can do that. Is site URL called anywhere else in that project? Okay, also okay, there's another redirect. Got it. So SC, no, server. So this is going to be SE site env for environment. We're going to have a define public I guess. Context. Yeah, I don't think we need a context on this. It's a little bit different. So fragment. And we're going to format this. B/A/A. I guess we could just do a concat, huh? Yeah. There we go. So env site URL. I don't know if that's the right way to do the naming on these, but okay. So back in not server. Actually, let's Control C, Control B. Let's get this actually loaded into the session, and then we're gonna go back to, what was it, login.scm. Wrong. Login on SE site. That was env. Okay. SE site env. Excuse me. All right, so login.js again. So what we had done is construct a query string that has to be encoded and signed, which is another whole thing. All right, so we got time for this. I think this will work. We're creating a redirect page. Now, why did I do that? Why did I make this a page that redirects instead of just returning a 301? Permanently move 302 redirect means that the move is only temporary. Okay. I mean, I guess I could still do the same thing. I just kind of create this fragment. Sorry, this HTML page. Redirect to the Discourse SSO endpoint. SSO nonce cookie. We're setting a cookie. Okay. So in the cookie library, we probably need something for writing a cookie. I must have put that somewhere in the Emacs packages login code. Login, cookie, set cookie. All right, so we've got a set cookie header that we can put in. Okay. Yeah, okay. Then like map. Kind of like a key value thing. Wait, what? Yeah, yeah. Not sure if I like that, but we'll just call it that for now. Unbound variable cookie, map cookie. Oh, this needs to be a lambda, of course. All right, that's good now. So that'll allow us to set the cookie header in the response. So back in the SE site, let's look at how we want to do the response on this too. So attempt to load current session based on cookie. We'll skip that part. We'll just go straight to trying to redirect, and then handling the response that comes back. So we do need to check and see if there's a query string parameter for SSO, because I think that's what happens. If you go up here to the top of this JavaScript code, so SSO to verify, is so search params, where's that? Okay, context request URL, search params. I think that's a weird thing that Cloudflare is doing to get the query param. So what we need is to pull the query param out, guile web URI. I think that it just gives me the ability to get the query part of the string, but I have to process it myself, as far as I remember. Field accessors for the URI record type. Yep. So I think it's just a string. I'll have to parse the string. So what I can probably do is go over to WebFrame. Use module web frame request. Use module web frame. Sorry. No. Web URI. Define public URI. Well, let's say URI. Wow. Request. So I believe I did something like this in the other, what was it called? String split. So string split right there. So parse query string. So back over to URI, I can say parse query string. Query string comes from URL, so we can get that by saying URI query. In fact, where did that come from? Parse query string. I wasn't using it anymore. That's interesting. Okay, bye. So that gives me the query string part. This will also give me the parse query string, which then no. Control C, Control B. Thank you. Match name value. We got match in here, so we need to have use module ice9 match. Control C, Control B, and now it seems to be okay. So request query params. Oh, I call this URI module. Okay. How about this instead? URI query star? No. So that's right? URI query. So I have my own URI query star procedure, which will return it back. Or I could even say a list, maybe. What would be better? Maybe that makes it very params. It's polluting the namespace now. So back into login. Not this one, the other one. So SSO to verify. Let me do a let star on this. Okay, this is a little bit messy. Let's do this. Request. And this is going to be request. It's going to be request. Okay, query params. And then query params and SSO. Did I make those? Maybe I shouldn't make them symbols. Fonts, name, value. Yeah, I'm not actually making them symbols. Okay. So this is going to be SSO, the string. All right, so SSO to verify, that should have something in it if something does need to be verified. Then I can, if I have SSO, I can at least log that we received that. Or just do this way. Okay, so received SSO to verify. I don't know how safe it is to be printing this stuff out on the stream, but whatever. And we can take the begin out too. Next would be the actual redirect. Let's move the steps description up to right here. Whoops. All right, so we got the if, and the second branch of the if is going to be the actual values thing to do the redirect. We have control over the text of that. We can actually just sort of put in the redirect information. So what I'm going to do is redirecting to form login. Let's just say that. And then after the H2, do an embedded script. Okay. Put that slash, semicolon, slash script. And that's it. See if that works. So the rest of this really is just calculating the values of SSO and the signature. Sorry, folks, 1 sec. All right, so let's see what we need to do to calculate things. I'm going to take a look at. So we got to do the nonce, which means we need a UUID, which means we need the library that I had found. I mean, we obviously could shell out to that UUID program, but maybe we can try to pull in that library that we saw, which is kind of its own wrinkle. So where was that? Right here. So this Guile UUID library, hopefully it gets pulled in fairly easily. I'm not sure how that's going to work out though. So we're going to go to the package definition of this project. So .geeks, yep, packages.scm. And we're going to create a new package definition for Guile UUID. Is that what it's called? Guile UUID, cool. And that's going to be a package. Probably need, let's see, do we have any tags? No, no tags, it's all commits. Great. So, package let commit. Just going to do that way. And then version. Pull this up a little bit. Let's just make this a bit bigger so I can see things. There we go. Version string append 0.0.0. I think there's another way to do this too. I'm not sure, to be honest, the right way to do this, but I'm just going to put like a kind of a bogus version number in it at first. Source, origin, method, get, fetch, URI. Wow. Get reference. And I'm going to drop the get link in. That actually needs to be under a URL. So URL. And commit. Okay, so now we got the URI set up correctly. SHA-256, which is going to be bogus for now, base 32. Because I'm just going to let it yell at me so that it could do all the work. Because I'm lazy. I wonder what other libraries this thing needs. Probably doesn't, does it? Doesn't say it does. So we're going to find out soon. Let me grab the latest commit hash. Is that right? I don't know why that showed up. Commit hash, commit inputs. I know I got a little typo here, source. If I had remembered, I would have done this before the stream. And this needs to be with a Guile build system. Maybe it doesn't matter. Yeah, build system. Okay, yeah, let's set that up. Source, inputs. I think we need Guile as an input. Okay, the package def is still okay. I'm going to put in the build system, and we're going to see if this works. Is that enough for the origin? Origin, URI, get fetch. blah, blah, blah. Okay, so Guile UUID. I also need to put this in under the dependencies of systemcrafters.net. I'm going to put it right here, Guile UUID. And I need to add it to the list of wrappers, which is... right here. Guile UUID. I hope this thing works. I don't know how, you know, polished this package is yet to depend on it in a project, but we're going to give it a shot. All right, so back into the compilation buffer. This will be the true test. Okay. Got a syntax problem somewhere. Probably did not pull that up correctly. Package. No, not there. Okay. Version source. What part did I get wrong? Missing field initial. Oh, I think I'm missing like the description crap at the end. Yeah, because that was an inherit. So I'm missing some of the other stuff like license, etc. Synopsis. Okay. Let's just get it building first. I'm not worried about what the license says. Okay, still the same complaints. Error, missing field initializer's name. Fine. Yes, that makes sense. Invalid content hash length. Fine. Fine, fine. Let me just copy this one then. How about that? I think this is the... view build log. What happened? Trev says, what are we using UUID for? We have to use that as part of generating a nonce for the authentication flow. But for some reason... no code for module, haunt config. What are we talking about? This is to build the haunt package? Doesn't just allow using a large random number? Maybe. Probably could do that. Let me just try to get this done, though. I mean, if it continues to bedevil us, I'm going to quit, but I'm a little concerned now that I'm seeing an issue with this file with the haunt package. I didn't change anything. Whoa, wait, hold on. What happened? What happened? Something weird is going on here. So the build log for Guile UUID says something about haunt. I don't get it. That changed the wrong thing. I'm really confused. What did I do wrong? Geeks and ain't easy? Yeah, whenever you're trying to generate package definitions on the fly. So why is it cloning the haunt? Excuse me, the haunt repo. I mean, look at it, dude. It's the right URL. I didn't change the other one to be called Guile UUID. What am I looking at here? So 6400, is that the right commit hash? Yeah, it's the commit hash I said. If I look at another Geeks error, I'll turn to dust. I don't know about that. Okay. Let's think. Let's think. This is kind of a dead end. I don't want to get hung up on this. Let's look at the docs. Which are not really docs. More like... it's sort of docs, but it's a forum post. Nonce. Generate a random nonce. An arbitrary number. Okay, so it could be anything. Maybe let's just do that. I was using UUID just for the purpose of... because it was easy, I guess. So... random. Pseudo-random numbers are generated from a random state object. Random in state. But it's optional. Is there a way to get the Guile, like the max... It says max number, right? Return a number in 0 to n. Guile scheme max integer. Max, int max. Those are C values, not scheme values. Real numbers, so maybe just 2 to 256 is max. Can I do that? Exp. Let's see. Let's go into the geyser REPL. Never mind. That's not right, is it? So please someone tell me how to beat Guile. Yes, please somebody tell me how to beat Guile. Because we're having some trouble. How do I exponentiate something? Is that right? Can't just use caret, can I? Unbound variable, of course. And x takes... Yeah, it's x. I mean, x exists, but it only takes a single value. So how do you get the base? Unless you multiply the base by it, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense, does it? And it's giving me a float. Oh, okay, it's got an e at the end. I mean, it's got to be wherever square root is, huh? Scientific functions. Exponent. There it is. Exponent. Exponent. Cool. Great. Thank you, Trev. Thank you, base Trev. All right. Okay, so if we do random. Okay. Random exp2 to 256. Cool. That's pretty big. All right, so that's good. I think it's good enough for now. So we got a nonce. Where are we? Right here. Probably doesn't need to be bigger than 2 to 32, honestly. Okay, Trev. You're probably right. Let's go see how big that is. 32. I'd rather have it a little bit bigger than that. 128. There we go. That looks like a decent enough number. That looks about the length of a GUID. Okay. All right, so you need a nonce. Create a new payload with nonce and a return URL. And then we need to sign that thing. Base64 encode, URL encode, and then generate an HMAC signature. Yes, we are so good at programming. Just stumbling around in the dark. That's how I like to do things. So back in login, I'm gonna create my nonce. Let nonce random exp2 to 128. And then I believe I need to do a little let star on this thing. So we got the nonce, and then the return URL. So this is a payload, right? Payload would be format false. Nonce equals and here we're gonna put nonce, and we're gonna put, what was it in env? Env site URL, and the other part of that is gonna be env site URL is, oh, there's also a custom redirect. Why did I do that? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Slash login slash, okay? That creates a payload. And custom.redirect search params get redirect. Okay, so that's like the default redirect string to send back to the site. I think I did that for myself. And custom.redirect equals a get redirect or, okay, got it. Let's just put like a default string in there for now. And that's payload. I'm gonna log that out. So log info payload. A UUID is 128 bits in size. Yeah, I just went based on the length. How long it looked. I'm not being very scientific here. Hey, payload. I don't know what I'm saying. Okay, so I think I should be able to reeval. No code for module SE site end. That's BS. Find module SE site end. Maybe I didn't evaluate that, but I did. I swear I did. Site's running, isn't it? Not running. This is the wrong REPL. Okay. So back to, yeah. Got it. All right, so let's go back. I think we're gonna skip that UUID thing. Dirty Johnny says, that's not secure. What's not secure, buddy? It's a nonce, okay? We're not doing anything special with it. All right. Packages.scm. I'm gonna get rid of this one for now. Just to save us some headache. UUID, I'm gonna take that out of here as well. Take that out. But we do need Guile hashing. And Guile, Trev says, relax, Johnny, this guy worked at Windows. That's not a good indicator of security knowledge. What was the other thing we needed? If I go back over to Emacs packages, find file packages, or package.scm, where is it? Packages.scm. GNU, gcrypt. Gal gcrypt. That will be needed. So Guile gcrypt. And anything else, I'll probably need Guile JWT as well. Have JSON4, hashing gcrypt. That looks fine. So now I need hashing gcrypt JWT put into the wrapper. Where are you? Guile JSON. There it is. Let's just clean this up a little bit. Guile hashing. Guile gcrypt. Guile, what was it? JWT. Okay, got it. So now I should be able to go back and load the project or run the project again. Okay, Guile gcrypt unbound variable. Probably need to pull in the right package for that. Let's look it up. Come on. Guile gcrypt. Crypt. GNU PG. There you go. Okay. Login, possibly unbound variable. URI query params. We're in login.scm. What am I missing? Web frame, use module. Web frame URI. Possibly unbound variable request query. I need to have, no, that's it. Request query. Query? Where's that? This is the wrong one. Okay, there you go. Request query. URI query params. Request path. All right. There it is. Okay. That should fix it. Possibly unbound variable SSO. If SSO to verify, that's my fault, to verify, okay. Log info, where are we? WebFrame logger. Now we should be good. Again? Ah. Maybe I could just reeval this page. Oh, we go. Geyser connect, localhost 3. Yep, same port. Close that. Reeval the module, then go and load the page. Probably a 500 error. Middleware issue. Would you stop that? Would you stop that? Trying to load that file path. That's what's happening. Wrong type argument in position 1 on string split. Potentially there is no query parameters, so that makes sense. Let me go into WebFrame URI. I think what's happening here is that there is no query string. And then string splitting. I mean, I suppose. It's either that or an empty list, right? Let's see if that makes it happier now. There we go. Redirecting forum login. Boom. Login error. So the reason why is because I redirected and I didn't put anything inside the string, which is fine. Law says, do you have any plans to continue with the eLisp series? Not at the moment, because I haven't really had anything else to say on that yet, but maybe at some point soon. Maybe. I don't know. Depends on people. If people keep asking, then I might try to look into it. All right, so we got a payload, we have a nonce, we have our return URL, localhost, login, at custom redirect. Okay, so I'm missing some stuff on that part. Login. Oh, do I need to URL encode any of this stuff? Custom redirect profile. Let's see, what was I doing in the JavaScript part? Get site URL, custom redirect. I wrote all that out, right? Slash profile. Okay, cool. All right. So the nonce looks good. Now we need the signature. In fact, I need to put the nonce into... Wait, what? Why didn't it actually format that? I formatted that correctly, but it didn't. SSO and signature. Where is the SSO coming from? What is the SSO part? Payload. Okay. URL encoded payload. Got it. So is there Guile URI encode? I'm pretty sure there's an encode. Yeah, URI encode. I probably need to do that. Let's try that again. Whoops, not that one. And the output, yeah, that looks URL encoded. That's fine. Okay. I need to close some of these tabs. All right, that's better. So the next step is create a new payload with a nonce and a return URL. Payloads should look like that. Hosted return URL should match the domain pattern you use when configuring Discourse Connect provider secrets. Base64 encode the above raw payload. Okay, we got to do Base64 encoding first. So let's take the URI encode off for now. Based payload. Guile base64 encode. Then glib, guile lib. Okay, well that's fine because we have guile lib pulled in. What is the module for this? Wait, this is glib. Not the same. Guile lib. Oh, there's a UUID module in guile lib. Okay, it just shells out the UUID gen. Fine. You know, it might actually work. Is it the package? Let's see. The guile lib package may actually pull in. Nope. Doesn't pull in Unix utils or Linux utils. Utils Linux. Fine, whatever. Use module guile lib. Do I need to put it as base64? Probably base64 is a module. We're looking at the code for that. Oh, glib? The hell? Whoa. Hold on. Ain't right. This is someone's fork. Is there an ICE9? Yeah, I don't think that exists. Let's check this out. We're going to go to the manual. We're going to go to the index. Or we can even load the whole thing and say base64. Ain't no base64. Oh, here, authorization. Yeah, how do you come up with that then? How do you decode it? All right, guile hashing probably has a why can I never find this thing when I try to Google it? Nope. There it is. Weinhold. Probably already had this repo open in another tab. Okay, so there's got to be a way to do base64 encoding in Guile. Documentation. Survey 207. 201. This it's in final status, 207. So 207 seems to be the one that a person would use. Yeah, this is this guy's personal library. No 201. Scheme, RNRS, byte vector. Converting byte vectors to from integer lists. Encoded on size bytes according to Indianness. So base 64 transforms binary data into a sequence of printable characters limited to a set of 64 unique characters. More specifically, the source binary data is taken 6 bits at a time. This group of 6 bits is mapped to one of the 64 unique characters. So you're just reading 6 bits. What is size in this case? U8 list to byte vector. Make list 4255. Indianness little. I don't want to, Trev. I don't want to write my own base 64 implementation. But I'm not sure if I'm going to have a choice here because we need base 64 encoding. It really seems weird this doesn't exist for Guile. Let's see. What about Guile? Let's see. What stuff do we have available to us here? Surfy, okay, maybe we got some extra Surfy libraries. 232. Hey, capability snob. Damn. That was Surfy 20 what? 207. Okay. Surfy base 64. Joe says there has to be something. There has to be because it's such a common thing. String notated byte vectors, base 64. Okay, byte vector to base 64. I mean, it has to be there, right? Is there an example implementation in here somewhere? Web client? Really? I didn't see it. That Guile lib one is not real. It's in someone's fork of Guile lib. No, there's no base 64 encoding stuff in the client library. Unfluent. Wait, what? I'm on another screen pulling up what Luis just sent me. A64 in code. Where the hell is that? Really? Let me check. Let's go in the REPL. Geyser. Use web client. Base. It's not in web client. Use RNRS byte vectors. Base. Nope. Is it in GNU TLS? Or JSON? The hell? Use GNU TLS. Aha. It's in GNU TLS. Well, yeah, I wouldn't have guessed that. What about you? I wouldn't have guessed that. Fine. I'm okay to use that. Thank you, Luis, for the pointer, at least. That definitely helped out. So, GNU TLS. All right, Gcrypt has it. Yeah, okay. So, or is actually Guile, okay. Is that the GNU TLS library? Okay. So let's go back. Based payload. Base 64 encode. Payload. Pretty sure that'll do it. Yeah, that I did not expect that. No code for, yeah, that's because it doesn't exist. All right, so now if I go back to that page and not that one. Okay, so it did the redirect. Let's go back to compilation buffer, check the logs. That does not look like base 64 encoded to me because I didn't actually write out the base 64 encoded version. Based payload. Whoops. All right. That looks like base 64 encoded. Okay. So base 64 encoded. Thank you everyone for helping to get that figured out. Okay, we got a little bit of time left. All right, so it's base 64 encoded. Then we have to URL encoded, right? I could probably just do this part. Base 64 encode. And just skip a step. All right, so that's going to be, whoops. Nope. It's a URI encode. Is that what I... That's right, okay. And that looks like it's URL encoded. Okay, cool. Next step. So we've got the payload with a non-standard return URL. We base 64 encoded it. The URL encoded the base 64 payload. And then we got to generate the HMAX 256 SHA-256 signature from the payload using your SSO provider's secret as the key, which means I have to pull one up to do that. And I have one somewhere that I'll pull out. So really what we want to see by the end of the stream is the request being sent successfully over to Discourse. And it redirecting back to where we at least get the SSO token to verify. That would be enough, I think. So the SSO is going to be the encoded payload, I'm quite sure. And then the payload signature would be the next thing. So we can say payload sig, sure. So yeah, URL encoded payload is SSO and SIG is the hex signature. So let's try to use that Guile hashing library now. All right, so there's HMAC, hashing HMAC. Unmatched bracket or quote. Hello to Salvatore. I must have missed something right around here. Yep. Okay, we're good on that. All right, so make HMAC. So where did we use? We used some SHA stuff over in the other project. Okay, over here. Glenn says, can we go back over the last 30 minutes? Oh, it's just a lot of head scratching. Don't worry about that. Make password hash, SHA-512 to string, SHA-512. So, there's make HMAC. HMAC SHA-512, HMAC SHA-256. Boom. All right, cool. So is that all we need? Generate an HMAC SHA-256 signature from base 64 payload. Okay, so I think that function HMAC SHA-256 make HMAC. And then the make HMAC itself is a function that takes a secret block length hash. It returns a lambda. So you need to give it a secret and the data. So return a procedure that calculates the HMAC given a secret and data, both of which are byte vectors. So HMAC 256, what was it? HMAC SHA-256. And it wants a secret, which is a byte vector, secret. And then the payload, encoded payload. But I think both of those need to be byte vectors, which means that I need to convert them. String to UTF-8. Okay, so that would be it, I think. Now, What did I call it in the other code? Discourse SSO secret. I'm so consistent. I am so consistent. All right. So we're going to have that loaded up. Now, is there we need something like direnv to pull in these environment variables. Because I already do have a file somewhere, not dir locals. Where is it? I hope I didn't lose that. I did have a file with the tokens in it. I may have to create a new one though. Interesting. Okay, so it's definitely not here. But what I do need is a way to pull up tokens out of an environment, a file containing environment variables. So direnv, look into the blah, blah, blah. Product specific environment variables without using profile. Before each prompt, direnv checks for existence of an env.rc file in the current and parent directories. There also seems like there should be a library for that for Guile. Guile env.rc. Probably not there. So let me think. I mean, is this something that I can like let Emacs take care of a little bit? Probably not though. So let's see. I must have that code on another machine, actually. Let me just check real quick. Not there either. Okay. What does the doc say about SSO provider secret as a key? They create a lowercase hex string from this. Okay, the hex signature needs to be lowercased. Pretty sure there's a function for that. Char locale downcase for character. String locale downcase. So if I were to go here, I also need to run. What was it? create a signature using your SSO provider secret as the key, then create a lowercase hex string from this. Let's call it the hex signature. So when we get the HMAC signature, then we downcase it. String locale downcase. I think this is going to return byte vector too. So this needs to be UTF-8 string. Pretty sure. So let's go check that out actually. I'm going to go back to users here. Whoops. SHA-512 to string. Okay. So I think I should change that here. Where is it? Not that. Okay. So all we need is the secret. Let me do something real quick. I'm trying to think of the best way to accomplish this. I mean, obviously, writing a env-rc, writing an env-rc file a basic one. Writing a reader for that would be pretty easy. Can you show me? I guess the question is, can I can eval the script, right? Like, what if I use just direnv locally? Let's try that out. Let me go back to packages. I'm going to go down to the system crafter site package. I'm going to have this be a propagated input. Okay, so direnv can hook into bash, C shell, blah, 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 blah. Question is, can I use it directly? So let's try that really quick in the shell. So I'm gonna go to eat real quick. Eeks shell direnv. Export. Loads an env-rc or env file and prints the diff in terms of exports? No. Executes a command after loading the first env-rc or env. Allow. I don't want the hook. Okay. This is something a little bit different. Inv.rc file format. Wow, it's actually a shell script. That can't be right, can it? Okay, so it is exports. Isn't it just foo equals bar? I thought so, but apparently inv.rc is a script. So .env file. Yeah, so that one is just a plain variable file. I mean, that's easy to write, but we're kind of out of time a little bit. I could do that though. Look at this. So in the env, that SCM file, read env file, path. So with, was it input from file, path, and then it's a thunk. And then for each line, I think that there's a, let's see if read line's in here. Oh, is it get line? Okay, get line from port. Is it optional? Current input port. How do I check? Okay, so scheme match EOF object. I think I can just use it straight up, can I? That's not it. Dial ice 9 match. Let's see. Predicate. Predicate true in all of pattern 1 through pattern n match. Or maybe I just, yeah. Is this really necessary? It also needs to be a loop. I think get line ought to just do it. Get line. So unless it's the EOF object, meaning we're at the end of the file, we're going to split the line. Yeah, because we don't actually have to return anything from this. We're just string split line, and the character predicate is going to be equals sign. Okay, yeah, that's valid. So I don't really need to match it, do I? So string split, well, okay, we can match it. That's kind of it, right? Be pretty easy to verify. Don't forget to trim. Thanks, sir. I think it's both. String trim both. Why not? Ah. Wrong number of arguments to get line. All right, so they're gonna force me to do this. Let's back this up one step and say port. Call with input file. Path and then procedure. Okay, so that's better. Oh, nope, it's not better because I have not put the port in yet. Port and port. Okay, so in the REPL, I can test this out. In fact, let's go to the root and say .env test equals foo bar equals baz, just to see how that goes. I'm gonna leave a new line at the end of the file too, because we probably need to make sure that we're not gonna trip on that. So back to env, I should probably check. Get line port, yeah, string length line greater than 0. We need to trim that before we check it, obviously. String length line. Not crazy about that, but whatever. All right, so down in the REPL. We're gonna be done with this in just a second. I mean, like, we can't really linger on this forever. Geyser. We're gonna move into the web frame env module, and we're gonna call read. What's also get CWD. CWD. I could swear that one of those works. Is it PWD? Get PWD? What the hell? Guile CWD. I swear there's a procedure for this. Get. Did I not type that? Get CWD. Could have just used JSON. Yeah, it's not a bad idea, I guess. I mean, why do I need to complicate things? Why is this procedure not working, though? Because it's in there. Okay, fine. So, read in file .env. I'm inside the module and oh, okay, sorry. I'm in the wrong module. Okay, fine. Let's do it like this for now. Something ain't right. Okay, there we go. Unless EOF object or string length is equal to 0. God. Expecting string foo. What are we talking about here? String trim both wrong type and argument system one. What? Ah, yes. It's not a const pair. Okay, set test equals foo, set bar equals boz. And then get env bar is boz. All right, good. Oh, there you go. That is a that's a simple env file implementation. So if I were to do that, let me hide my screen for a second so I can try to grab a token. All right, one second. This may not work, but let's just check it out real fast and see what happens. So let me go back to the forum. And search for auth. Make sure Discourse Connect secret is 10 characters or longer. Wildcard symbol can be used to match any domain or part of it. Do I have anything stored somewhere? No. All right, and that was okay. So I have a secret now. I'm just going to double check real quick to make sure it's in there. And then I'll put the screen back up. Okay, so then Geyser Connect, localhost 37146. Okay. Still there? Okay, so now I've got a token. Close that screen. And then We should be able to pull that in. What did it say they wanted? It wants me to sign with a signature. So we have the encoded payload signature, Discourse SSO secret, Discourse SSO secret, payload. Don't really need to write that out anymore. And now payload sig. Cool. So let's give it a shot real fast and see what happens. It should try to redirect back to me, and we'll see if the SSO to verify shows up. So let me just load this. String locale downcased, SHA-256 string. Did I not put gal hashing in? Okay, string locale downcased, string to UTF-8. I think I need... Wasn't login. What was it? Models, users, RNRS byte vectors. That's gonna go back here. String locale downcase. String locale downcase. There's Surfy13. String upcase, string downcase. Okay, so what if I pull in Surfy13? Guessing that exists. Okay, it exists. String downcase. Cool, now that works. Let's go back to the login page. Okay. Login error, the forum tells me. Maybe. Did I put it in the wrong order? No, I've done the signature here with the SSO secret, string to UTF-8. Put the payload in as something to be encrypted. SHA-256 string, and then downcase it as a signature. I saw that it looks like it was downcased. Seems fine. All right, so I think I'm going to call it on this because we're going to have to do a lot more digging into this, and it's already 3 hours in. So I don't want to spend people's time on this more. I might do a little bit more investigation on my own off stream. But we did make some progress. I think at least the core part of the login flow, at least to send the right stuff to the Discourse server, is mostly working. Obviously, I need to validate the what's happening and make sure I'm sending the right values to it so that it knows how to unpack them correctly. But once that's fixed, and I might try to fix that before the next stream, then all we got to do is just deal with the response that comes back from the server whenever it redirects back to our site, and then store that as the user session. I should be able to get the information about the user, like their username and anything else that's relevant, and store that as part of the session token that I'll put back as a cookie. And then the user will be able to go to the System Crafter site and see that they're logged in, and then go to their user profile, among other things. So it should be pretty nice. Okay, thank you all folks for being here today, especially those of you who helped out the chat, Luis, Trev, probably others, I can't remember. Hopefully that wasn't incredibly boring. I think it was kind of cool though, because we did do some pretty non-trivial stuff in terms of, getting, this federated auth working. So I feel pretty good about that. And the code seems somewhat simpler than what I had done in JavaScript, but maybe that's just because I have a bias towards Scheme. I don't know. So anyway, we will be back next Monday again for the next Crafter Hour stream, and then obviously we'll be back Friday for the normal System Crafters live stream. So until then, thanks a lot for watching, and happy hacking. See ya.